we recited a wonderful poem Prabhupada wrote. Abyss was a dark view. The golden era of preaching that had flourished in the days of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was no longer. By the influence of Maya, Abhay wrote, quote, "Now everything is darkness. All devotional instructions have been destroyed. Now everything has been reversed." Unquote. Meditating on that great personality possessed of the divine power to save the entire world, Abhay expressed his feelings of weakness and helplessness because of those not fixed in devotional service. Many branches have spread all over. Your conclusive message did not touch the ear. Where will I get the strength for the Sankirtana movement? Unquote. How could be? How could he, a tiny spiritual child, survive without his spiritual master? Now, who could save the world, which was so much more oppressed than ever before? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had said that a dead man could not preach. Only one with life could preach. As long as Abhay had others could deeply regret the Gaudiya Math's failure, there was still life and still hope. Quote, "If everyone obtained this right and went out and made disciples, then the suffering soul in the world could be saved." Unquote. It was useless to cry over what his god brothers had done. Yet in seeing and resenting it, Abhay found within the pain of what might have been a continuing spark of what still might be. Abhay sent this poem and Vrindavan Bhajan to Keshav Maharaj, who published them in the Gaudiya Patrika. One night, Abhay had a striking dream. The same dream he had several times before. During his days as a householder, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati appeared, just as Abhay had known him, the tall, scholarly sannyasi, coming directly from the spiritual world, from Krishna's personal entourage. He called to Abhay and indicated that he should follow. Repeatedly he called and motioned. He was asking Abhay to take sannyas. Come, he urged, become a sannyasi. Abhay awoke in a state of wonder. He thought of this instruction as another feature of the original instruction Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had given him at their first meeting in Calcutta. The same instruction that his spiritual master has later solidified in a letter, become an English preacher and spread Krishna consciousness throughout the Western world. Sannyas was for that end. Otherwise, why would his spiritual master have asked him to accept it? Abhay reasoned that his spiritual master was saying, quote, "Now take sannyas and you will actually be able to accomplish this mission. Formerly, the time was not right." Unquote. Abhay deliberated cautiously by accepting sannyas. A Vaishnava dedicate his body, mind, and words totally to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, renouncing all other engagements. He was doing that already. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had offered sannyas to his leading disciple so that they could continue his mission. They hadn't done it. Preaching in the West had proved perilous even for the Gaudiya Math's most recognized sannyasis. How could he, a mere householder, presume he could succeed where the others had failed? He was hesitant. The helpless, incapable feeling he had expressed in his Viraha Astaka was there. But now his spiritual master was beckoning him over all other considerations, even over natural humility. Now, although he was elderly and alone, the desire to preach, just as his spiritual master has preached, remained within him. A fierce, though sometimes quietly expressed, determination. The Vedic standard and the example set by the previous acharyas was that if one wanted to lead a preaching movement, sannyas was required. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had taken sannyas to facilitate his missionary work. Lord Chaitanya had taken sannyas to further the Sankirtan movement. Of course, Lord Chaitanya was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when his young student had been disrespectful toward him, treating him as an ordinary man, he had taken sannyas. Because the sannyasi is automatically respected. Lord Chaitanya's acceptance of sannyas was a calculated tactic. As soon as he began traveling throughout India as a sannyasi, he immediately attracted thousands of followers to the Sankirtan movement. Knowing that many cheaters would accept the saffron dress and abuse the respect given to sannyasis, Lord Chaitanya had advised against accepting sannyas in the age of Kali. He knew that cheaters in the guise of sadhus would act immorally, accumulate funds for their own sense gratification, and make many followers simply to enhance their own prestige. Posing as swamis, they would cheat the public because the people of Kali Yuga are unable to follow the rules and regulations of sannyas. Lord Chaitanya had recommended that they simply chant Hare Krishna. However, if a person could actually follow the rules, and especially if he had to spread the Sankirtan movement, sannyas was necessary. Abhay first had to approach one of his godbrothers for permission. He decided to turn to Bhaktivilas Tirtha Maharaj, formerly Kunj Vihari, the leader of the Chaitanya Math in Calcutta. Abhay still thought of the Chaitanya Math as the headquarters of his spiritual master's mission. During the heated legal dispute, the Chaitanya Math had been the most prized acquisitions, and since 1948, it had been under the legal ownership of Bhaktivilas Tirtha Maharaj. Now, although each sannyasi had his own place or places, the Chaitanya Math and Bhaktivilas Tirtha Maharaj legally represent the Gaudiya Math entity. Abhay felt that if he were to take sannyas and go preach to America, he should give the Chaitanya Math the first opportunity to support his work. So in April 1959, Abhay wrote to Tirth Maharaj, inquiring about sannyas, as well as about the Chaitanya Math printing some of his manuscript. And since no one was going abroad, he volunteered to do so on behalf of the Chaitanya Math. Bhaktivilas Tirth Maharaj replied that Abhay should first join the Chaitanya Math. He mentioned the strife that still lingered. Quote, those who are acting against Chaitanya Math, they are motivated by their individual ambitions. Unquote. Anyone who was against the Chaitanya Math, he said, was acting illogically and against the instructions of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So according to Tirtha Maharaj, the thing for Abhay to do, the thing he had neglected to do for so many years, was to join the Chaitanya Math and act under his direction. Tirtha Maharaj mentioned several members of the Chaitanya Math who had recently accepted the sannyas order. And he said that Abhay could also become one in time. He invited Abhay to come reside at the Chaitanya Math. Quote, the house that we have, there are rooms that are airy and well lit. We will treat you exclusively. There won't be any difficulty. We will take care that no inconvenience are caused. But as for printing books, we are eagerly awaiting to print the books like Sandarbha, Vedanta, based on devotional service, and many other rare books by the Goswamis. First, we will print them. Books written by you will be checked by the editorial staff. And if the funds can be raised, then they can be printed accordingly to priority. The books will be printed only if they are favorable for the service of the Chaitanya Math. Therefore, if the fund is raised, then there is a plan to go abroad as well. Abhay was not encouraged. The main difficulty he felt that the Chaitanya Math's shortage of funds. So Srila Prabhupada explained in his own words, I was working with my broken typewriter. I went to our Tirth Maharaj. You give me a room and print my books. Give me some money, I will join you. I had thought, this is Guru Maharaj institution. He did not say no, but the printing of the books was a difficult task for him. He had no money. He was hardly collecting for maintaining. Printing of the books is a big job, and there is no guarantee of sale. So without printing books and going to the West, sannyas did not have meaning for Abhay. And who knew when Tirtha Maharaj would sanction his taking sannyas? So there was no point in going to Calcutta just to reside in an airy, well-lit room that he had already in Vrindavan. Abhay wrote back to Tirtha Maharaj mentioning his direct order from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati to preach to the English-speaking people. He wanted to go to the West right away, and he had thought the Chaitanya Math would welcome his offer. Both Abhay and Tirtha Maharaj had their responsibilities, but perhaps they could work together to carry out the desire of their spiritual master. Abhay asked Tirtha Maharaj to reconsider. On May 7, 1959, Bhaktivilas Tirth Maharaj wrote back as follows. My suggestion is don't make any hasty decisions. For the time being, you stay with us and engage yourself in the service of the society and then accept Tridanda sannyas. The purpose of accepting Tridanda is to serve the society. If that is your desire, then Sri Chaitanya Math will decide about your going to America to preach and make all the arrangements. It can never be the principle of the society to let one act according to his individual attempt or desire. The society will decide after consulting with the heads what is to be done by whom. This is what I want to say. First of all, it is necessary to identify oneself with the society. In order to preach in America or in other foreign countries, it is important to have a dignified organization in the background. And secondly, it is necessary to establish oneself
Hare
in
Krishna,
India
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
before
Hare
going to
Ram,
preach
Hare Ram.
in the foreign countries. Hari Bol, somebody has unmuted. Chanting is always good, but we need to listen Prabhupada's life. That's also very important. Now it is that there are no conferences or meetings in the West as before. Communication is done through the media of television. Abhay could understand the needs and priorities of the Chaitanya Math, but he could not allow them to overrule what he considered the highest mandate, preaching as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had ordered. Abhay had offered his services to the leaders of the Chaitanya Math, thinking they might also see things his way. He thought that with the world's crying need for Krishna consciousness staring them in the face, they might see that this Abhay Babu was convinced and enthusiastic, and so should be sent right away with whatever he required. But they had other priorities. Abhay next turned to Keshav Maharaj in Mathura. And Keshav Maharaj told Abhay to take sannyas immediately. After corresponding with Tirtha Maharaj, Abhay had felt some uncertainty about accepting sannyas. And now that he was being encouraged so strongly, he resisted. But Keshav Maharaj was insistent. Srila Prabhupada explained in his own words, I was sitting alone in Vrindavan, writing my god brother insisted to me, Bhaktivedanta Prabhu, you want to do it without accepting the renounced order of life. Nobody can become a preacher, unquote. So he insisted. Not he insisted, practically, my spiritual master insisted. He wanted me to become a preacher. So he forced me through this God brother. You accept. So unwillingly, I accepted. Keshava Gaudiya Math was located in the midst of one of Mathura's downtown bazaars. Its main entrance, an arched doorway, had led into the courtyard, open to the sky through a metal grating above. The architecture was similar to that of the Vansi Gopalji temple. The atmosphere was secluded, as in a monastery. Abhay was a familiar, welcome figure here. He had lived here, written and studied in the library here, edited the Gaudiya Patrika, and donated the deity of Lord Chaitanya, who stood on the altar beside the deity of Radha and Krishna, Sri Sri Radha Vinod Vihariji. But his visit during September of 1959 was not an ordinary one. He entered the mutt dressed in white, Abhay Babu, but he would soon be living dressed in saffron, a Swami. Abhay had been living as a renunciate for 9 years. There was no need for him to observe a ceremony or to proclaim himself a sadhu by changing to saffron dress. But it was the parampara system that a man take Tridandi sannyas at the end of his life. He was aware of the cheating sannyasis. Even in Vrindavan, he had seen so-called sadhus who did not preach but simply spent their days hunting for chapatis. Some Swamis of Vrindavan even indulged illicitly in what they had supposedly come here to reject sex life. Such persons were making a mockery of sannyas. And there were the caste Goswamis also, who lived like ordinary householders, running temple as a business to support their family and accepting honor and donation from the public on the false basis of birth. Abhay knew of these abuses of sannyas, but he also knew the real purpose of sannyas. Sannyas was for preaching. So on the morning of September 17, 1959, in the 50 by 25-foot deity room on the second floor of Keshavji Math, a group of devotees sat before the deities of Radha Krishna and Lord Chaitanya. I visited this math with my spiritual master. And at that time, I think Gurudev asked me whatever he speaks in English, I have to translate in Hindi. My Gurudev said, I speak so much and you don't speak nothing. Then he found, I think, my godbrother who was living in India. Because I will have to search for the Hindi word, we are not really expert in Hindi language, so I was struggling. And my Guru Maharaj noticed right away, and then he gave it to my godbrother. It was a nice exchange. A group of devotees sat before the deity of Radha Krishna and Lord Chaitanya. The deities were colorfully dressed in a royal clothing and silver crowns. Radharani's right hand faced palm forward in benedictions for the worshipper. At her side, her left hand held a flower for Krishna. Krishna stood like a dancer, placing his right leg in a casual tiptoe pose before his left, playing his long silver flute, which he held gracefully to his red lips. His long black hair reached down past his shoulder, and the garland of marigolds around his neck reached down to his knees. On his right stood the deity of Lord Chaitanya, his right arm raised, left arm at his side. His body straight, feet together. He was a soft golden color, and he had large eyes, a well-formed red mouth, and straight black hair down to his shoulders. One level below the deity were pictures of the spiritual master in disciple succession. Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, and Bhakti Pragnan Keshav Maharaj. Abhay sat on a mat of kusha grass beside 90-year-old Sanatan, also to receive sannyas that day. Sitting opposite the two candidates, Narayana Maharaj, Keshav Maharaj's disciple, prepared to conduct the ceremony of mantras and offering of grains and ghee into the fire. Akinchana Krishna Das Babaji, Abhay's godbrother, known for sweet singing and played mudanga and sang Vaishnava bhajans. Sitting on a raised asan, His Holiness Keshav Maharaj presided. Since there had been no notices or invitations, only the most few residents attended. Narayana Maharaj chanted the required mantras and then sat back silently while Keshav Maharaj lectured. Then, to everyone's surprise, Keshav Maharaj asked Abhay to speak. Abhay had not expected this. As he looked around at the gathering of devotees, he understood that the common language was Hindi. Only Keshav Maharaj and a few others spoke English, yet he knew he must speak in English. After Abhay's speech, each intimate received his sannyas danda, the traditional head-high staff made of 4 bamboo rods, bound together and completely enwrapped in saffron cloth. They were given the sannyas garments, 1 piece of saffron cloth for a dhoti, 1 for a top piece, and 2 stripes for underwear. They also received tulsi neck beads and the sannyas mantra. Keshav Maharaj said that Abhay would now be known as Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj and that Sanatan would be Muni Maharaj. After the ceremony, the 2 new sannyasis posed for photos, standing on either side of their sannyas guru, who sat in a chair. Keshav Maharaj didn't impose any strictures on Abhay. He simply encouraged him to go on preaching. Yet Abhay knew that to become A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami did not mean merely that he was giving up family, home comforts, and business. That we had done 5 years ago. Changing from white cloth to saffron cloth, from Abhay Babu to Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj had a special significance. It was the mandate he had required, the irrevocable commitment. Now it was only a matter of time before Bhaktivedanta Swami would travel to the West as Bhakti Vedanta Saraswati has ordained. This was Bhaktivedanta Swami's realizations of his new sannyas status. We have few paragraphs we should be able to finish. The Gaudiya Patrika's account of the sannyas initiation included a biographical sketch of Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, listing the major event of his life. The article concluded. Seeing his enthusiasm and ability to write articles in Hindi, English, and Bengali, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj gave him the instructions to take 3 dandi sannyas. For nearly 1 year, he had been ready to accept sannyas. In the month of Bhadra, on the day on which Vishwarup accepted sannyas, Bhaktivedanta Swami at Sri Keshav Gaudiya Math except Sadyas, the founder of the Vedanta Swami, Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj. Seeing him accept his ashram of renunciation, seeing this pastime for accepting the renounced order of life, we have attained great affection and enthusiasm. Haribol. So we will be embarking on chapter 10 tomorrow. These moments, no, tomorrow is chanting Saturday. So we will start on Monday. These moments, hour, momentous hour of need. That's the title of the chapter number 10. So with those thoughts, we should close our session. Devotee may have to go to the work. And also the task that I'm trying to complete has not been completed. So I think it's working out good that I can do the gardening early morning before it's. But now the winter time, so even if you work late, it's very nice. Today I'm gonna trim my ground covering so it looks sharp because who knows when the winter is gonna set in, then I won't be able to do it. That's the last thing I have left in my garden to trim those ground covering. It has green, white, and pink leaves. It looks so beautiful. But they grow so violently. If you don't check them, it can grow everywhere. So I will have to trim them today. And it looks also very nice when you trim these, ground coverings. We should keep everything so nice because who knows when Krishna can visit our home. You never know. He can come. So with those thoughts, I would like to offer my humble obeisances at the desk of these wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis for their kind support. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you very much for joining and dedicating your early morning times to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I'm so proud of you all, and with your help only, I'm able to maintain my sadhana so nicely. So it is so nice. I'm really indebted for your kindness.